it should be not a question of if they're going to hire a videographer, but when, but also they should be taking away how they set a videographer up to be successful.
You're listening to the Endless Customers podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is the proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to start to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, do not miss our upcoming conference, Endless Customers Live, in Chicago, March 30th through April 1st, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, onto the show. Here's your host, Alex Winter.
Video is one of the most powerful ways to educate buyers and build trust, but many businesses aren't using it to its full potential. Without a dedicated videographer, content can feel inconsistent, unclear, or disconnected from what buyers actually need to know. That's why I'm excited to be talking with Coach Lindsey Auten. Lindsey helps businesses understand the value of video, define the role of a videographer, and make it consistent in their content strategy. In this episode, Lindsey will share what she sees before a videographer is added to the team, why the role makes such a difference, and how teams start seeing results when video is integrated into their buyer education process. Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alex. It's been a while. I appreciate you guys having me back on.
It's great to see you. It has been a while. It's been too long, in fact.
Yeah. We're due for a visit. So
we are definitely due for a visit, and we're talking about my favorite topic, video. We're the video experts on the crew here at Impact, and you are definitely a well-seasoned veteran when it comes to video and all things video. So first question, let's kick things off. We'll get right into the conversation here. For the modern buyer and for buyer education, why is video so important?
Yeah. If you think about how you consume media right now, anyone out there, when I say you, if you're going through your day, what are you doing? You're probably on your phone, scrolling Instagram, scrolling TikTok, scrolling Facebook. If people still do that, I still do that. I'm probably dating myself a little bit, but
it's a generational thing though, right? Like certain generations are on certain apps, but they're all kind of similar in a way with the UX and how the user experience goes.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously YouTube as well. Like there's a good chance that in your day-to-day media consumption, the majority of what you're doing is watching video. And watching video could mean a number of things. It could mean you're watching video with the sound off. I do that all the time. If I'm scrolling something and I don't want to turn sound on, or if I'm listening to a podcast in the background and I'm scrolling while I'm listening or scrolling while I'm watching TV.
Yeah. Or if you're in a meeting that you don't want to be in, but you want to watch something because you're bored. No, I'm kidding. We don't actually do that. Right?
But if it happens to happen at some point and you're doing something and you're consuming some kind of media and it's video, it could be with the sound off, it could be with the sound on, but I would say most people these days are watching video as part of their everyday media consumption. And
100%.
That influences how we buy. How many times have you looked on Instagram and seen a video for something and then you follow that thing and then eventually you buy from that?
Even on Amazon, I do that. If it's certain products on Amazon, if it doesn't have a video that I can watch, I'm not as likely to buy it because for whatever reason, I want to see it in action. It's a weird psychological thing, but it works. It really does.
Yeah. Right now, one of the things that I love to do in my free time is when I plan vacations, I will go on Instagram and create a shared Instagram space with my husband of what we're going to do and pin certain posts into that shared bookmarks. And a lot of those bookmarks are video. In fact, one of the things that we did when we we did a trip to Oregon. We live in Florida, so going to Oregon is a long travel for us.
Yeah, it is.
For most of the places that we went, it was stuff that I had seen on Instagram, posted videos of to our shared bookmark, and then we made reservations, whether it be hotels or to the various wineries and restaurants based on those things that we saw on Instagram.
Yeah, we do the same thing. It's really, it's almost like the old Pinterest boards, right? It's that's the new way of doing it. Is it's the modern Pinterest board, but with video, and it just gives you a firsthand look at, and gives you a chance to feel what it could be like, and allows you to like envision it for yourself. And I don't know, it just makes me that much more open to wanting to do it versus trying to imagine it or trying to piece these like gaps together where there's just a lot of question marks and unknowns.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if you think about a small boutique hotel that's trying to stand out amongst the like big hotel giants, and they have really strong Instagram on, yeah, and they post a bunch of videos of people like entering the property, different videos of the rooms, different videos of like views from the property. That's what sold us on one of the like boutique hotels that we stayed at, was all of the videos that they had. It looked like you were in Tuscany,
Oh, very
you were
cool.
in, you were in Oregon. But it like, and it lived up to that expectation. Like the service was wonderful. Like it was everything that it showed on Instagram. It was not a Instagram versus reality kind of thing. It was reality versus reality.
Yeah.
So back to the question of how has video changed the modern buying experience? I think it's changed it so much. I think people do extensive research now on, and especially use video when they're trying to make decisions about where they want to stay, where they want to eat, what they want to buy, what products are they looking at for reviews.
Hmm.
Alex, we were talking about watches earlier before we started recording, and my husband's a big watch guy, and he watches a watch channel on YouTube comparing different watch brands or doing honest reviews of different micro brands. And he will make a buying decision about what type of watch he wants based on that person's review. He's even bought watches from this person's micro brand that they started after they had the YouTube channel around for a while. So
No kidding.
video and like video can help you create a cult following. Video can help like sell a product. It can also hurt you if someone makes a video review of your product and it's not very good. Like video can influence a lot of things related to the buying experience.
So we know with the endless customer system that building trust is number one. That's like the number one component here. Transparency helps people make a better buying decision. So I think video is a great way of doing that. For companies out there that are trying to start the endless customer system or that are looking to build trust, what problems do they run into if they don't have a videographer? We know how important that role is. Why do people need a videographer? And if they don't have one, what are some issues that they could face?
Yeah. I would love to say that video, I will caveat this by saying video, it's easier than ever for anyone to pick up a camera and create video. Does that mean everyone is going to do it, have the capacity and ability to do it? No.
Yeah.
Um, even though it is even though it is accessible, and even though there are instances where if a company doesn't have a videographer but they could benefit from video, I will tell them to start creating video. It's often slower to adopt. There's a bigger barrier to entry as far as the skill set goes of understanding what looks good, what sounds good, how to make something sound better, how to make something look better. It is accessible, but it's also really hard to be good at video. And so companies can do it. And some people who have some experience can do it and be coached to do it. But if you don't have someone owning the process of ideation all the way to optimization, I say optimization, meaning something has already been published and they're going back and looking at it and seeing what they can improve and making those improvements, then video is just another thing that you do. And it doesn't always go anywhere. You could get lucky and create a viral video on your phone by yourself, but that doesn't make a strategy. You need someone who owns that portion of the strategy and who can execute it without being held back by barriers to entry that relate to skill, that relate to just design, like the eye for video, the understanding of sound and how to make sound good or how to fix bad sound, etc. Like companies with the greatest intentions can do video, but they're going to run into the challenge of if someone doesn't own it, it's always going to be the thing that gets deprioritized because it's the thing that, while accessible, is really difficult to attain.
Yeah. You make some really good points. And I think the viral effect is a really good standout from what you said. At least for me, that's what resonates, because I think that's the mentality of a lot of businesses, is like views and like, let's go viral and that'll get us the results that we need. And usually that's not the case. And we talk about vanity metrics a lot, but like, are those viral views that you get 1 million views on a video you posted? Out of those 1 million people, how many actually converted? How many turned into leads? How many turned into this? After the video, have you looked at any of the engagement, and are you using that to optimize new videos you're making? Like, you made some really strong points that I think a lot of people tend to overlook. So I guess my next question, or the way to segue into this, is like having an in-house videographer, bringing a dedicated person onto your team. It might sound like a lot, and it is an investment, but why is that so important, especially with what we're talking about right now?
In our endless customer scorecard, which if anyone on the endless customer's journey knows the scorecard very well.
And just asterisk if you don't know the scorecard.
That's where I was going.
Okay,
if you
cool.
don't know the scorecard, there's a section where it talks about video. It's number 4 on the scorecard, and it is essentially we're leveraging video better than anyone in our market. We have someone on staff who's qualified, accountable, empowered to oversee the success of our video strategy. If you think about those 3 things, qualified, accountable, and empowered, you got to have someone who's qualified to do it. Like I said before, video is more accessible than ever before. That doesn't mean everyone's qualified. So
Right.
someone who knows how to shoot something, and I'm not saying like this person has to be an Oscar award-winning cinematographer, but they do have to have an idea of how to frame something, how to make something look good, how to make someone sound good. And I don't just mean technically sound good. I mean, coach someone to say the right things on video and make them feel comfortable. And then empowered, meaning that they feel like they can own it. It's their strategy to own, their strategy to execute, and they feel like they have the raw talent to do it, but then they're also put within a position in the organization where they're trusted and held accountable to executing a high-level video marketing and sales strategy that that makes them feel good about the work that they're doing. So you need someone who has, yes, the hard skills of a videographer, but you also need someone who understands the people skills of being a videographer. You also need someone who understands the strategy of videographer, meaning like they can analyze YouTube analytics and say, oh, if my shorts are getting swiped away 70% of the time and people are only staying on it 30% of the time, like that's an indicator that something needs to be different about my shorts. That's a really basic example, but being able to go into those analytics and say, like, I'm going to make an informed decision about this strategy based on what I'm seeing and reading.
Yeah. No, that's
the tool disposal.
No, I love that we're talking about this, because I come out of a video background, as most people know that watch the show, and traditionally film school trained, went out to the West Coast and did the Hollywood thing. And the way that you just positioned what you said to me, I think there's a stereotype. Most people think of videographer as like the camera person. So like, that's the person who holds the camera and edits the videos. And there is a technical component to that. But our definition in Endless Customers of videographer is a lot deeper and more rounded and shaped out than that, where it's like those technical pieces are important, but you're also a key member of the content team in the sense that you have to interview people. You're running that particular strategy. You're also doing the articles and working with the content managers. So like, it's a lot more than just picking up a camera and pointing and shooting it and making sure the lighting and the sound is good. And I think it's a really integral part of being on the team. So when companies are hiring a videographer, how does that play into not just the hiring process, but once they're onboarded, like consistency and continually making, because we're talking about 2 to 3 videos a week over week. So how do you create consistent content, and why is having a dedicated person like this so important?
Yeah, so in the hiring process, you need to make it very clear what this person is responsible for. And often when I'm working with clients, I ask them, instead of posting the job as videographer, because I do find when we do post it as videographer, I get a lot of people who just want the point and shoot or have the like cinema background. And while some of that works out, most of the time it's not the skill set that we're looking for.
Well, it's funny too. So just jump in here. It's funny too, because most videographers that I know and the world that I came out of, people are incredibly talented, from a technical
Yeah.
standpoint. But if you're a camera person, most people that are camera operators are not also interviewers, are not also analytics and like back end specialists for looking at like data and metrics and how that plays into a content, a campaign or a content push that a company's trying to do. So there's layers to it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And to that level too in the industry. And I come from that to an extent from that industry as well, but I'm certainly more of the executive producer type.
Yes,
I'm
you are.
not the technical videographer whatsoever. Like I can point, shoot, and hold a camera and do that stuff, but I'm way more of the like planner and helping someone execute and helping that person behind the camera get that interview. Like that's more my skill set.
Yeah,
So
for
we're
sure.
need to blend those skill sets. And that's why I always tell people to, instead of posting it as videographer, post it as video content producer. You're going to get a different candidate pool than you would just saying videographer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the like first thing that I look for is, do we have someone who can think like a producer but execute like a videographer? So I need someone who can own pre-production, can stay organized. And that's probably the biggest thing to success in being successful when you start day one
Mm-hmm.
is the expectation is, oh, we have a videographer. Now we're going to make videos and publish them. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to hire a videographer. You're going to give them a runway to create a backlog, meaning they have between 6 and 8 videos that are ready to be published before you even hit publish on your first one. And that gives us time to work ahead versus the hurry up and wait game of, oh, I'm going to make this video and then publish. Oh, I'm going to make this video and then publish. And then you're stuck in the cycle of, well, I can only make and produce one video a week. It's like, well, yeah, the only reason that you're in that cycle is because you didn't take time on the front end to build your backlog. So I think what the key to success in the first 90 days especially is intentionally focus on building the backlog, intentionally focus on building a B-roll library, intentionally focus on creating your assets and setting yourself up so that when you do go and hit publish, you're not always trying to catch up to yourself. You're consistently working ahead. That's easier said than done, but that is the advice and instruction I give my clients when we have a videographer getting onboarded is we're not publishing immediately. We are building a backlog, and you're going to need to be patient.
It makes a lot of sense though when you position it that way. And I'm speaking from experience because we practice what we preach here at Impact and we do the same thing. The backlog is so important and it takes time to build that backlog, to capture the B-roll, to get the assets that you need. But you need to do that because consistently pushing out content week over week, it's not easy. And if you don't have that, you're going to constantly be chasing your tail. It's like living paycheck to paycheck versus trying to at least put some money in the piggy bank, right? So it's very important and strategic to do it that way. How does this role as a videographer play into the endless customer system when it comes to the content piece itself? So like answering real buyers' questions and going back to what we were talking about earlier about building trust, and how does that play into the equation?
This is a great question, and I think it can get a little bit confusing because, and we had this question come up in the Impact Plus platform recently where someone was asking, well, we're supposed to publish 3 pieces of content a week. It's like, that's a great starting point. 3 pieces of content a week is a fantastic starting point.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think about it and diversify it, because usually when we're saying 3 pieces of content a week, it's 3 written pieces of content a week that get published on your website. That's fine. And if you're on a platform like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or any of these other great platforms we were talking about that buyers are on, they're going to require their own level of consistency. And so you can't, like, it's not enough to say, oh, I'm going to publish 3 pieces of content a week in perpetuity. And like, this is how they're going to be segmented. It's like, you kind of like, if you have 2 people on staff, you're going to diversify. So how this fits into the endless customer system is yes, you're publishing 3 articles a week on your website. Now you're adding on video, which is 2 videos on its own on ostensibly different platforms, right? You could publish a video on your website. You can publish a video on YouTube. You can publish it on both. But video is a separate publishing cadence right now than written articles. And so that's an important distinction to make, is that video sets its own tone for what's possible in terms of publishing and cadence. So
Mhm.
just because you start publishing 2 videos a week doesn't mean you stop publishing 3 articles a week. They should work together. Not every article is going to have a video right away. So you should prioritize if you've been writing content for 6 months, 6 to 8 months in that
Mhm.
range. What are your best performing articles? Those best performing articles could be topics for YouTube videos and then working together from there. So your content manager and videographer should be working together.
Right.
There's also going to be times where you make videos that don't have an article attached to it. If you think back to our Selling 7, the Selling 7 are videos that are strategically placed on website pages that should improve conversion rates. So, best example, landing page video. Your landing page video of how, like, what's going to happen when I fill out this form does not have a corresponding article. It is a separate video. It does not, like,
Right.
that's not a topic for an article. So, it really requires an understanding of the nuances between different types of content, an understanding of once you hire this person, they're responsible for their own publishing cadence, and that publishing cadence is on top of what the content manager is already producing. And eventually, like, you could get to a point where you have an understanding of your video strategy well enough to say, and I've been recommending this to some of my clients, oh, your shorts are performing better. Well, maybe we do 3 shorts a week and 1 long form video a week, because that's what, like, where your channel is going right now. Let's follow that path. So
That's a big piece to this too that I think is really important to highlight, is that there's a big difference between what you think you should produce for content versus what you need to produce to build trust. And you really have to listen to your potential customers and your audience. That engagement is going to tell you the content that's working and what's not, and you have to adjust and react accordingly. So if you want to be, putting videos on your website, but they're getting traction on social, guess what? You got to lean into the social piece more. That's just part of the game. It really is.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's also something that's really cool that happens that we've seen, and I know you've seen this a lot with your clients, and we've seen this a lot here at Impact too, where the videographer does a lot more than just the technical piece. Like we said, they also bridge gaps. And it's a pretty cool thing that happens internally with companies where marketing has to start working with sales more. And sometimes there's a divide line between marketing and sales is doing their thing over here and marketing is doing their thing over here. How does the videographer help bridge those gaps and really create what we call a revenue team or a revenue squad?
Yeah, I think a videographer is in a unique position to do this because they put the content people, or they put the subject matter experts and salespeople in a vulnerable position, meaning they put them in front of a camera and tell them to say something. And that, like, inherently requires some amount of trust. So like, I see the videographer as the and I don't mean this in a way that, like, content managers should be upset about, but the videographer is the link between sales and marketing. They truly are.
Mm-hmm.
They are they're putting sales in vulnerable positions. They are positioning them as visual, like, people of authority. They are they create relationships with them. Like, I love when salespeople are like, oh yeah, we like hanging out with our videographer outside of work. I'm like, cool. So they make you feel uncomfortable and you still like them. That's a win. So I see the videographer as the true person who really sits on both teams. And I think what that does is it allows the quality of video in general in the organization. And I mean, especially when you start having salespeople make one-to-one videos or one-to-many videos on their own in different platforms, or even when we ask them to start making, I've been doing this a lot recently with home services clients, asking salespeople out in the field to make, like, selfie style videos with tools like Company Cam,
Mm-hmm.
where it could look really clunky, but because the sales team has had training and been in videos for the videographer, there's a lower barrier to entry and they come out better. That's it having a videographer elevates the quality of video throughout the company, not just the like videos that are being published on the flashy platforms, but the videos that the salespeople make too.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when they're doing the selfie style. It's like anything else with practice, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it. And then when you have a dedicated videographer that can give you some tips and some pointers and some tricks, you start to pick those things up over time and everything just gets better over time. Yeah. I think too, there's a good point there that you made where to build trust through your content, that also starts from the jump internally with your teams, right? So the salesperson has to trust the videographer. The videographer has to know how to build trust with that person because they're putting them in a very vulnerable and maybe uncomfortable spot. So like there's layers to building this trust that ultimately, if you can do that, it's gonna show up in your content and the end result of what you're putting out there. And it's just gonna be exponentially better. Yeah, very cool. Do you have any examples of this? Can you share? You work with a lot of different industries and companies and people. Can you share some examples or something that like has stood out to you recently that's just been working really well from a videographer standpoint?
Yeah, I think the client that I would love to shout out right now that's doing a lot of really great work is the whole roofing team in Indiana. Their videographer Adam, he wears a lot of hats, but he has found a way to make his long form content and like really improve the quality of it while also empowering his sales team to go out and shoot the types of videos that I was just telling you about, the selfie style shorts. And those are the most powerful, like those are the most popular shorts on their channel, is those selfie style videos where it's just a guy on a roof. You see his face, but you see what he's looking at and you see him explaining something. And that's not an easy thing to develop a system around because salespeople have to be reminded, salespeople have to be trained, they have to understand like why they're doing it, they have to see value coming from it. But they have created a system, and he was so excited to share this on my last call with him, where they're starting to get traction where the sales team just out of nowhere will send him videos without being prompted. So there was their first snowfall in Indiana, and one of their salespeople like went out, took a video talking through like, now that the snow has fallen, here's some warning signs that you might look out for, but also like here's what be done on your roof if you need work done, even though it's snowing. Like,
nice.
It's like the habit is starting to sink in.
That's the dream scenario for me as a videographer, right? If you can get people so excited about creating content that you don't have to go shoot everything, you can consistently shoot what you need to do on a weekly basis, but then you're also getting submitted content from your sales folks. That's just, that's the dream. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I think one misconception is that you have to have perfect video for it to perform well. No, especially in the like social world, the less produced video I think performs, and I've seen it perform better than the high quality, high production value videos. There's a place for both for sure. But if you're talking about initial awareness and getting people into your funnel and into your system and what you do, like that least highly produced videos on paper, at least, or at face value, are usually the ones that perform best.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think there's a time and a place for both formats and both scenarios, right? But especially on social, we've seen this time and time again. The less produced it is, the more real it feels. And the more real it feels, the more you build trust because people know you're not trying to fake it or add some sort of pizzazz or AI tool. Like it's just the more real you can keep it, the better off you're going to be. So I think that's a great point for people to take away. So for people who want to do this, they read the book, Endless Customers. They're excited. They're thinking about maybe hiring a videographer onto their team. What can companies do to make this position successful? So like, all right, we're going to hire somebody on. We made the decision. Like, what are the steps that you tell companies to like set this videographer up for success and to start creating content that's great and effective, like right out of the gate?
So they need to first off decide like what they want to do as far as equipment goes. I always tell companies you should buy your own equipment. You can wait for the videographer to make that purchase, but you should have your own equipment for a number of reasons. First off, the reason you should have your own equipment is because if the videographer leaves and you are using their equipment, well, sorry, That's their equipment, not yours. You don't own it. So now you're out of equipment. And if anyone wanted to come in and pick up the camera and start working on something, you don't have anything.
Right. It stops the content train dead in its tracks. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So decide the route you want to take for what equipment you want for your videos. And then you can strategically decide to make those decisions. Now, we just passed Black Friday, which I always tell companies, if you can make purchases during Black Friday for video equipment, go for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are other sales throughout the year, but that's usually the best one. So step one is equipment. Step two is you should decide what videos that you want to make the videographer to make first before they even get onboarded. I would say come up with a list of 24 videos. And that should be, if you're just starting, a mix of selling 7 and big 5. So usually I say your first video should be your landing page video. That's the easiest video to make. It gets the ball rolling quickly. It establishes we're serious about this and we're doing this video thing. So you have your landing page video first. Then you can then start doing bio videos for all your customer facing people. So after you've written down a number of bio videos you need, your landing page videos, then you can start filling in the gaps of the rest of those 24 pieces of content with other topics, using the selling 7 and big 5 as your guardrails for what you should be making. Next piece of advice is always, how do you want scheduling to work? Number one thing that gets in the way of videographers being successful is making sure people understand, hey, our new videographer is going to be coming to you and they're going to need an hour or 2 of your time at first to make this video. You're going to be required to make time for them. So being serious with your team about, hey, we're committed to this and you're expected to be on camera. So setting proper expectations for your team of, once you have this person, here's how they're expected to interact with and utilize this resource. That's
a huge point, and I'm just going to interject here, because from a leadership standpoint, if you're deciding to implement Endless Customers as a system, you're bringing a videographer on, you're making this investment, you need to fully commit to making the investment. And sometimes people get busy. Salespeople are busy. They don't want to have to take 2 hours to film a video. But if you make it a company mandate, you make it like, we're all committing to this, we're all paddling in the same direction, it really helps set the videographer up for success instead of having to basically like swim against the tide.
The last piece of advice is that this person is going to need someone to review their videos. So someone at the company is going to be responsible for approving and reviewing videos in a timely manner. Mm-hmm. Now, when I'm working with companies, I tell them I cannot be the final say. You should not be relying on me to approve your videos. I will review video content, and I'm reviewing it for Endless Customers. I'm reviewing it for Endless Customers best practices, and I'm also like, I will make tips and suggestions on production quality if I see that it's needed, but generally, like, not like I shouldn't be making notes on lighting and sound, because that's a requirement of being hired. You need to be good at those things.
Right. That's the baseline.
Yeah. So someone is going to have to set time aside to review videos for factual accuracy, right? This videographer is likely not going to be part of your industry. They don't know what they don't know. You need to review their content for factual accuracy, for tone and brand consistency, and just a final eyes on this.
Yeah.
Now, that might sound like not a lot of work on paper, but if you're a leader and you have a million other things on your plate, you need to figure out, and you're already reviewing written content, how does this fit into my workflow? Am I the best person to be reviewing this? If I am the best person to be reviewing this, what's the timeline I should, work with my videographer on expectations of how quickly I can turn around video reviews?
Right.
What I've seen companies do in the past is, if it's the same person reviewing both content and video, then putting like a block on their calendar, and that block isn't a meeting. It is just the calendar block is there. They know to check a folder for content and video, and that's how they structure that review time.
Yeah.
Is they have their folder of stuff that they need to get through in that hour.
Mm-hmm. All very good points. This has been a great conversation. I feel like we've gotten a ton of like tidbits and advice and tips and tricks. But just to recap, videographer is critical to your Endless Customers journey. to help creating that content train that you need to have to build trust. What is the one thing people should take away from this conversation? If you're a business owner, if you're a marketing officer, if you're in one of those leadership roles and you want to bring a videographer into your team, what's the one thing that they really should take away from this conversation? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, if anyone is taking something away, it should be not a question of if they're going to hire a videographer, but when. And also, I'm going to add, they should be taking away these two things.
Okay.
When to hire a videographer, but also they should be taking away how they set a videographer up to be successful.
Exactly. No, that's a critical point here. You need to have the buy-in to set people up for success because it is a team effort. You're not just going to hire a videographer and they're going to magically make everything, all your problems go away. It's definitely a team effort. And I think that's the coolest part about the Endless Customer system. When you implement it, it brings the team together. It really unifies the team if it's done correctly. And the results can be pretty epic. So if you don't have a videographer and you're out there watching and listening, got to get on it. Got to get focused. Lindsey, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for all your insights and for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, for everybody out there watching and listening, this is Endless Customers. I'm your host, Alex Winter, and we will see you on the next episode.